Hey, what's happening, guys? I'm excited today because I wanted to share with you kind of a win for me here at the shop. Basically, I've been talking nonstop on the YouTube channel and in general in life about buying the right car, not getting duped, not getting scammed, not buying some kind of a money pit without knowingly understanding what you're going to get into. So this client of mine gave me a holler and he wanted to download our buyer's toolkit, and you can download it here, so that he could go look at a car and make sure he was buying a car properly. He kind of knew what he was looking for, but didn't really understand everything about what he was looking at. He got the buyer's toolkit that teaches you not only what to look for, a checklist when you're looking over the car, but then what each of those things mean. Because he used our toolkit, he understood how to negotiate the right offer. He got the car for $15,000 less. We literally saved him 15 grand. And now he was able to get the car of his dreams. So here we go, we got a car, we're gonna build a badass project for him, and I'm excited. What I'm excited about is he took my checklist and looked over the car and found and bought what I think is the right car. He knew what he was looking for. He wanted a really clean, kind of a survivor, original car if he could find one. But he also didn't understand everything that he needed to look at in terms of like rust, engine mechanicals, drivability. And so that's kind of where the whole toolkit stepped in and really let him understand, okay, if I see some rust here, what does that mean? I've got a nice brand new top. It's got some wrinkles. Is that hard to fix? So a lot of these things were things that he didn't really understand exactly the implications of each thing, but having this system allowed him to really buy with confidence. So we literally saved him 15 grand. And now he was able to get the car of his dreams. So one of the first things you're going to find in the toolkit is a whole script on questions to ask the seller to better understand who they are, where they're coming from, and what their story is. Really, because that helps define the story of the car. I always want to see if I can trust the seller. I want to see if they're representing the car honestly, and I want to understand the history of the car. My guy asked all the questions, felt ready, felt armed, and felt like this might be the right car for him. So because he was armed with what to look for and knew what he was getting into, he was able to negotiate the proper deal, and he saved 15 grand. And I want to see how well that kit worked out for him. With this particular car, you can tell it's just one of those cars that speaks unmolested. I mean, you got your trunk rack here. It's an original plain Jane. It's a 307. It's a 4-speed, which is pretty cool. Manual steering, manual brakes, hubcaps. I mean, just not a lot of bells and whistles to it, but solid. So that's what we really were excited about. And California car. California car is almost always the most solid car you're gonna find, unless it's been by the beach like Santa Cruz or one of these coastal towns, because the rust will just kill them. So I'm gonna pop the hood, look inside the car, and let's kind of find out what we're working with today. All right, so I got my checklist from the toolkit. I got a flashlight, and I got a pen. That's really all the tools I should need at this point. So one of the first things we're gonna look at is gonna be paint and body, okay? So on this car, I think you've heard me kind of say that we're gonna do a build, right? He wasn't looking for a car that he could daily drive, although ironically this car really seems to drive pretty well. But we were looking for something that wasn't gonna conceal any surprises. We were gonna try to understand what we're getting into so that we could determine where the money's gonna have to go. So he knows he wants to paint the car regardless. So we've got, you know, chips and flaws in the paint. That's fine, that does not scare us at all. But primarily what he was looking for was gaps. So you see this car has nice consistent gaps. It's got nice body lines, crisp, and it's got decent gaps on the doors as well. That's generally what you're gonna get oftentimes when you have a car that's original. Original sheet metal always fits better than aftermarket sheet metal. So although the car is gonna need a complete body and paint, we already see that we've got crisp lines. It's just gonna be a lot easier. So we look at it and say, does it have any rust? Yes, it's got some rust. He noted down here that the bottom of the fender is rusted. But again, the lines and the rockers are so nice that is just a few hours of extra repair. in the grand scheme of things. And so that dollar amount isn't gonna kill him. So this rust, and although there and needing repaired, is a lot easier to fix than some kind of a weird body gap issue or a big dent. Cruise to the back, we see we've got nice gaps here. And yet, we've got a little bit more rust back here. We'll go around the other quarter panel, we see some rust. And so I think we found about 4 different panels that have rust. So using the buyer's toolkit, it actually told him how many hours I thought it would take for him to repair rust here, repair that fender rust, repair some of the damage we saw on the other side. And then he was able to put together a number and say, okay, cool, I'm gonna have to spend this much on rust in order to eradicate all the rust. And so he put a line item for that, right? So now all of a sudden he understands what he's looking at cost-wise. So it's gonna really help as he goes into developing his budget for the build. I know I'm preaching about this program, but I find it to be so important. If you watch some of the videos, I've had so many customers and clients get burnt. That's why I'm really pushing this thing. All right, so we've got rust in the lower rocker, right? We see that. I've also got rust on the bottom of the driver's fender, almost exactly the same, and a little bit of rust underneath each of the back rear wheel wells. Pretty minor. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pretty minor rust repair areas. In addition to that, we've got a bunch of weird little holes everywhere. This is a trip. This person had, like, if you've ever seen, like usually it's a European car, when it's a convertible or a roadster, they'll snap a top all the way around the car. When it's down, you can even see on the dash that they must have had snaps and some kind of a cover on the car, either when it was stored with the top down or moreover possibly when it was being driven. So we're gonna have to plug weld each and every one of these holes. So let's guess, that's probably 50 different holes, right? So now we know we got to plug weld about 50 different holes. We know we've got 4 different areas of rust we have to attack. And I think he's going to want to get rid of this luggage rack, right? So now we're going to have some more holes to weld. But other than that, as we go around it, we see the trunk lid fits nicely. The rear doesn't look like it's ever been hit. Everything looks very, very, very legit. And then we got one other weird one. What the heck is this? This was clearly some kind of a wonky antenna that must have stuck way up high in the sky. These cars have been through a lot of stuff over the years, right? I mean, if this is an original 69, it's what, 55 years old by now, at least. So I'm sure it's been around the block like I've got a few bumps and bruises myself. So let's add some more time for this repair. So using this list and taking down all the different notes that we're talking about right now, we're able to itemize a lot of the things that are going to be needed using the findings guide that's in the toolkit to allocate prices to these different things. So then really he knew exactly what he was looking at. Let's say the price was 50 grand. He walked around the car and he's like, I need to spend 5 grand here, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. I'm just using generic numbers. It helped him understand what he should try to negotiate off the price and or what he was going to need to spend to get the car to the level he wanted to get it to ultimately. So the checklist helped him find the problems. The companion findings guide helped him understand what each of these individual things was going to cost and how much effort they might take to correct. So that way he could decide, is this the right car? What's it going to cost to fix it up? And do I get it? So now that we know the body's pretty solid, let's check the doors and see if the hinges, latches, and everything work right. That feels really nice. The door drops a little bit. You can see how it drops there. Slightly worn hinge. What I'm always going to do is kind of just see if everything looks like it's intact, not damaged. Also certainly looking for rust and different signs of wear and tear on the inside, which I don't see. It's also cute to note it's got the little convertible top wedges which help the car from vibrating and squeaking when it goes up and down. Convertibles have a lot of flex, so Anyways, that's kind of a nerdy Camaro thing. I'm just noticing that something original is actually there, which excites me to see that the car's that original. Next thing I look at, wow, is window operation. I want to make sure that the windows open and close smoothly and that they line up well. Yeah, that actually lines up really well. I'll check the back windows too. These are usually finicky as can be. Camaros are weird. They always get stuck right there a little bit because their design is they have to go back and then forward. But man, all of that stuff feels like it's pretty good too. So you just really want to make sure a lot of these little things, especially if you're buying a completely done painted car, if you had a noisy window regulator, if you had a door that didn't open and close right, you might be looking at replacing a hinge, you might be looking at replacing a regulator. What does that cost to do? How hard is that to do? Is it a deal breaker? If you had the guide, you would know. That's kind of weird. The hood doesn't really want to open. Aha, the fawns. So yeah, that's pretty lame. These hood pins, those gotta go, right? There's another hood repair, but I saw that on his list. So the hood actually feels like it opens and closes okay, other than, you know what, the reason it doesn't open is these 10-cent hold downs are actually binding. But the hinges feel good. Everything's working properly. And then we start to look under the hood. This car sure seems to be exactly what it was represented to be. It couldn't look much more original if it tried. Like I said before, it's just got manual steering. It's a lowly 2-barrel. Clearly nobody's molested it. I don't think anybody was going to convert this to a 2-barrel. The engine looks like it's all original. Certainly it's had a few things like a new regulator, new brake master cylinder, looks like probably a new ignition coil, which actually probably means the engine's going to run okay. All the wiring looks to be correct and in place as I'd expect it to be, but also I'm not finding any weird issues. My heater core looks like it's hooked up. That's always a good sign when the heater hoses are hooked up. It's a good sign that the heater core is probably good, which really, I don't care that much about the heater core. I care more about the heater core not being bad, because when the heater core is bad, a lot of time it leaks water inside the car and creates a bunch of rust. But if the heater core was bad, that would be yet another expense to be looking at. A new heater core on some cars can be easy, but really it's something you don't want to have to get into unless you know you got to do it. So it looks like this car has been well maintained. I don't think it's just lipstick on a pig to make it ready for sale. It looks like it's got a relatively fresh tune-up, which is something I always recommend you do when you buy a car anyways. Looks like it's got traditional just service work in order to keep it running well. Fuel pump looks like it was replaced at some point in its life. I'm not a big fan of these battery cables, so I think I'd be a little worried about that, especially this one. Look at this negative. Whoa, don't mess with that too much. Well, let's see if it'll start and run. Uh-oh. Is it that cable? Oh, hell yeah. Clutch safety? Yes. Almost got myself. I thought it was that janky cable, but it was the clutch safety that I had to press. I love it. I'm seeing things like clutch safety that work, those convertible wedges, all these weird little signs that make me feel like this is a solid car. Because a lot of times when you buy a car, even if it looks solid, it's not. But when they are solid, it's all the little things. I totally get juiced about little things, like when the wipers work, the clutch safety works, the reverse lights work. Like that's the stuff that people miss all the time, and it's just such a hint that the car's legit. So I'm gonna grab my list and I'm gonna take a closer look under the hood. I hear something that sounds like maybe it's a lifter tick, a rocker arm or something. So I'm gonna write that down also on this checklist, because in the findings guide, I have a whole thing that tells you exactly what these sounds might be. It shows some videos talking about these different sounds, different types of smoke, what they might mean, and what they might cost to fix. So I'm gonna note that down, because I'm gonna wanna look at that at the end and just try to figure out every little thing that we're gonna have to fix. All right, let's check out the interior. See if this top goes down. Feels like it. Yes, it's a manual top. If it was a power top, ideally I'd be doing it with a switch, and if I wasn't, I'd be fighting pretty hard because you'd be fighting the hydraulics usually. Okay, I'm missing a hold down latch here. Weather stripping's bad. Top frame needs painted. Seats and everything look pretty nice. This seat's got a pretty good rip in it. Right here, you can see this one needs a new seat cover. But like other than that, all the seat belts are here. You always want to check for that stuff. Seat belts, check. We're missing a side cover on the seat hinge, so I'd write that down. It's gonna need a seat hinge cover. Just kind of check everything, see if everything works. Horn works, that's pretty cool. Lights all work. Signals are operational. Some weird little switch here, I don't know what that is. Wipers work. Heater works. Gauges, well, there's one gauge. It works. And do we think the radio works? All right, I'm gonna say the radio does not work. So, all right, so we need a radio. These visors are all worn out. This guy's rusty. Seat hinge covers, maybe some sill plates. Not too bad on the inside, so I'm gonna write all that stuff down also so I can see what that's gonna mean, put it on my list. Let's keep moving on. I noticed two things, one good, one bad, as I drove it over to the rack. Check out the steering. Look a little loose. We'll take a closer look at that. What I did find was I actually had to put it into reverse to turn the key off. That's pretty cool. That means the reverse lockout's actually working. You don't see that on a lot of these cars. Let's put it up in there. All right, underneath we're looking, wow, we've got less rust than I even thought here. That's awesome. Gas tank looks old, but maybe even repaired or something. I don't know what. Maybe it's just rubber undercoating. Rear end's crusty. Definitely got a differential cover leak. We'll note that down. New exhaust system, but clearly the exhaust is done poorly. It's been dragging underneath the car. I always trip out when I see the workmanship on these cars. This exhaust should not be going underneath the car. It's supposed to go up in here underneath and then back out. It's obviously been the lowest thing on the car. That drag shows me that the exhaust is done wrong and maybe the suspension's worn out, or was. It's got new shocks. Frame bushings are very worn out, but what I'm not seeing is any rust. Like this car underneath does look to be really solid. I don't know why I can poke inside here. We're missing a floor plug. Frame doesn't look to be damaged at all. Just a stock old school Saginaw 4-speed. A leak here. Front suspension, we saw that it was all loose, so I'm gonna grab the rag joint and see if I can move it back and forth. I'm moving it a bunch and not much is happening, so I can think almost all of the slop on the steering is gonna be the steering box. Bushings and everything look old, new shocks, new ball joints, a couple engine leaks. Overall, not too bad. Drum brakes, like I said, plain Jane. A little bit of water leak here, some kind of coolant leak. So I'm gonna write all of that stuff down. It's such a great opportunity when you get to take a closer look underneath these cars because you can really make sure you're getting what you hope you're getting. On this car, I'm super excited for him. It looks like it's a very rust-free car. It's very solid. I've been looking in the nooks and crannies trying to look for surprises and I'm not finding them. So other than a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna jot down, you know, like an oil leak, frame bushings, new exhaust system, all these different things are gonna be very important to understand and notice, and that's why this buyer's toolkit is so important because I can go through and say, oh look, okay, exhaust, exhaust might cost this much. Oil leak, is it a pan leak? Is it a gasket leak or is it a rear main? And I can have that on here. Oh look, oil leak at rear, and then I can look in the findings guide and say, okay, a rear main seal leak might cost this many hours, where just simply a drain plug leak might cost this much. The exhaust system will be broken down in the findings guide, replacing the steering box. A lot of these things are all broken down in my findings guide. So what you could literally do is go through your list yourself with confidence and take all the different things you see, jump to the back to the appendix or the findings supplement and see. So do I have worn out tires? Okay, what might cause that? Let me look at my findings guide. It'll tell me things like maybe it's an alignment, maybe it's control arms. If I've got transmission issues or noises, I can have that. I look, oh yeah, I noted on my drive, a transmission noise. I can go on the findings guide and understand what might cause that. So what we're trying to do is make sure that you guys are buying right, but mostly making sure that you understand what you're looking at, and more importantly, not just what you're looking at, but what each of these things means in the real world in terms of cost and scope, so that you can understand best if this is the right car for you, what it's going to cost to finish it, and make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. All right, so now that I've had a chance to look underneath the car, I feel it looks like it's safe enough to drive, so I'm going to go take it for a test drive. Wow, this thing runs and drives really well. Other than this loose steering, the brakes are great. I didn't hear any clunking going over bumps. More importantly, I didn't hear any like convertible creaking, which is often a sign of a worn out convertible car. Just the thing feels really, really, really solid. I'm excited. I think he's got the right car to do the project with. I think we're going to be able to rock and roll. What I'm really excited about is this is going to be a full custom rebuild for this customer. What I'm disappointed about is for somebody else that didn't find this car, because my guy is going to tear this car apart and do a bunch of work. So most of the findings that we're finding, like steering, old basic tired engine, those things don't matter to us. We're going to go modernized and make this kind of a nice resto mod anyhow. But as nice as this car is, had somebody looked at it, they could have found themselves like a really nice driver. This thing literally just drove like grandma's car when I drove it around the block right now. And had somebody looked at it with the buyer's toolkit, with the right checklist and the right understanding of the findings, they probably could have went, looked at this car and got a hell of a deal, just like my customer did. He went and looked at the car. It was 50 grand. The guy didn't want to budge off it, but using everything that I taught him, he was able to go out there and buy the car for $35,000 and saved 15 grand.